ready for your Chicago Blackhawks. Yes, your Chicago Blackhawks will return outside in 2025 at the first place they started their outdoor journey at Wrigley Field. Yes, today the Athletic basically announced the Chicago Blackhawks will be back in the Winter Classic in 2025. So I had to dust off the Jonathan Toews 2009 Winter Classic, where the Blackhawks were the host team at Wrigley Field. The Hawks will return to the winter wonderland of Wrigley Field, and this time it's not against Detroit. It would have been a smart move by the NHL to make a rematch of 2009 in Wrigley Field for the Blackhawks Winter Classic. But it's not. It's going to be a rematch of a Winter Classic, though. The 2017 Winter Classic, their opponent will be the St. Louis Blues. Yeah. I wish it was against the original six opponent, but it's not. It looks like it's going to be against the St. Louis Blues per the Athletic today. We kind of knew the Winter Classic was going to be back for the Blackhawks because What Chaos, Pete Blackburn kind of reported it on their live stream the day of the 2024 Winter Classic between the Golden Knights and Kraken. He basically said, well, don't be surprised, the Chicago Blackhawks will be back in the Winter Classic. And, well, we're back. This is interesting. Yes, we're still in the start of a rebuild, but the Hawks are going to be back on the NHL's biggest regular season stage of the year. Next year, 2025, Hawks, Blues, Wrigley Field. This will be an interesting matchup, as the Hawks still going to be a rebuilding franchise, but playing against a rival in St. Louis could make up for a good game, because last games we played St. Louis this year, we played well. Granted, Soderblom blew a game this year really bad, but that was okay. The Hawks are going to be back in potentially in a better position next year, comparatively speaking to this year's roster. Hopefully healthier, the team back to competitive type hockey again. They've been playing competitive since the injuries this year, but it's been a rough go at it. With the Hawks being back at Wrigley Field, it should make up for a fun atmosphere. Historic Wrigley Field. It doesn't get anything better than that. As a Cub fan, it's the best baseball stadium in the whole world. And as a Blackhawk fan, it's awesome to see. So, seeing my two favorite teams have a host opportunity at my favorite stadium in the world, it's awesome to see. The friendly confines of Wrigley Field, the historic confines of Wrigley Field. It's awesome to see. The Blackhawks wearing, hopefully, a nice throwback jersey. I brought out the 2009 jersey for this video. I wonder what they will do for the 2025 jersey, because it's going to be under Fanatics, which I'm not looking forward for. It's, as you know, I'm not a fan of Fanatics, but that's going to be the first marquee jersey that Fanatics comes out with, and it's going to be a Blackhawks Winter Classic. So we'll see how that turns out. This is going to be a marquee event. The Hawks being back on the center of the hockey world on New Year's Day 2025 in Wrigley Field. It's always good to see. This year's Winter Classic was the lowest viewed Winter Classic in history of the Winter Classic for the NHL. So it kind of makes sense the Blackhawks are back in it, because they bring viewership, especially with number 98 Connor Bedard. The Hawks viewership ratings make the team more profitable for the NHL. And the Winter Classic being a money grabber, it makes sense the Hawks will be back in the Winter Classic. Against a team like St. Louis, who are kind of fluctuating between rebuild and trying to compete, they're in limbo. So maybe at this point next year, St. Louis will be still trying to find a true identity. Don't know what's going on there. The Hawks are a team that, yes, we are a rebuilding team, but we have some key pieces to our roster. Connor Bedard, Alex Vlasic, Lucas Reichel should be. He's had a rough go this year. Kevin Korchinski. Nick Foligno will be back next year, so have to put him in that pieces of players because he's a true leader. Steph Jones. Should Connor Murphy be back with the Hawks? We have some cornerstone pieces. We could even see a surgence of more rookies next year, such as Frank Nazar, maybe Oliver Moore, Landon Slager, maybe Colton Dock. We could have an insurgence of more rookies next year, which could be a beneficial thing for this team. Peter Mrazek will likely, knocking on wood with his health, be in net for the Hawks because he signed that 2-year deal a couple of weeks ago. I'm happy the Hawks are back in the Winter Classic. I'm going to start making videos what I feel like the Hawks Winter Classic jersey for 2025 will look like, because it's going to be a question out there. What will the Hawks come up with for the 2025 Winter Classic? Because this was the 2009 one, and it turned out great. The 2019 jersey, excellent. Yeah, this is the 2019 Winter Classic, or last Winter Classic, and that turned out great. So, what will we see for the 2025 Chicago Blackhawk Winter Classic is a question I'm going to have to ask. I am looking forward for this. I'm going to be making sure I get tickets to go to Wrigley Field New Year's Day for the Winter Classic. And I think I know a good spot to get tickets for, like good spot to sit at Wrigley Field for the Winter Classic versus not. Key tips: don't sit low at the Winter Classics because you aren't going to see the entire action on the ice. You kind of want to sit middle of the stadium upwards, and then you could see more of the action on the ice. I was at the 2017 Winter Classic. That was at Busch Stadium. And I sat low at that game, and then I managed to get an upgrade by sitting up in upper deck more so, and got to see the entirety of the ice action. 2019, I remembered to sit up higher. I sat middle of Notre Dame Stadium in that middle section of the bowl, lower bowl, and I got to see all the action on the ice. Now we're back in the Winter Classic. I'm going to make sure I'm going to choose seats that work out perfectly for the ice surface at Wrigley Field. So down in the comments down below, are you excited to hear the Blackhawks are back in the Winter Classic? And thank you for watching the broadcast. Please leave a like and subscribe if you haven't done so already. And most of all, the Blackhawks are back. And let's go Hawks!